So, Abhay, I thought, it'd be interesting to see your journey from the time you were a kid till now through a few questions.
Yeah.
You're from a film family, you're Dharmendra's nephew and your cousins are all in the film, etc. Have you always wanted to be an actor? Is that something you always thought, or did it come kind of accidentally? Tell us a little bit about how you started being an actor.
Well, yeah, I grew up in a family of filmmakers, and so we were always surrounded by that. I remember going to the sets at the age of 5 and 6, and so I was very intrigued. I almost felt it was my right to be an actor because my family was, in the business. So I used to take part in theater in school as well all the time, and it was the only thing I felt I was ever good at. But soon after, when I turned 10 or 11, as I started to discover, cinema from around the world, and then I would see the cinema back at home, I would question myself, like, do I really want to act? And also because everybody said who'd come home, family and friends, beta bada hoke hero banega, And I was
Yeah.
like, no, don't take me for granted. I could be a doctor, I could be a scientist. So I denied it for a long time. But then around 19, when I was in college and I had to, confirm my major, I was like, okay, just face it. This is what you want to do, and I,
Yeah.
and I went for it.
Yeah. And when you started doing the films, obviously they might have said hero banega, but you actually play the, non-hero, hero roles a lot. And it seemed like there was a point where you arrived at that saying, this is really what I want to do. So tell us a little bit about where was the inspiration for that? What was the first movie where you felt, this is the kind of movies I want to do?
It started off in childhood, one of my earliest memories is of watching Star Wars. You're an 8-year-old boy, and it's just like, wow, what is this? There's no songs and the action is so much better. And then as I grew older, I started to discover more filmmakers. I mean, funnily enough, at an early age, I discovered Stanley Kubrick. The Shining. As a child, I loved being spooked out of, and The Shining did that. And then from there, I went on to discover. I remember Terry Gilliam, Brazil. I think was Terry Gilliam. So
Yeah.
it started off at that point, and my journey just took off. And then when I went to college in LA, it just opened up even more.
Okay.
And even more, I realized that I want to act. And even more, I felt depressed when I looked at what was being made at home.
Yeah. So which was the first movie where you felt at home with that genre of movies?
One that I saw that when I was old enough to realize what I was liking was Blade Runner. And Sochana Tha, my first one, was at least content driven. But yeah, I think Manorama was the first one that I could get out of my skin, get into a comfort zone that was, well, it wasn't my comfort zone.
Yeah. And how about Oye Lucky, Lucky Oye? I mean, it's based on a true character. Did you get to meet that person? I mean, what was it to become that person? I mean, did you find part of yourself that you said, my God, I am like that, or I'm not like that? Or
Dibakar, the director, he was very clear that I don't want you to meet him and act like him or talk like him. He's like, no, this is his background. He's from a lower middle class Delhi kid, and I'll tell you how to do it. I don't want you to copy someone. So I said, sure. So then I did work on accent. I did work on attitude along the guidelines that Dibakar had set for me.
So, this is a question you are asked often about how you prepare for a role, especially when you look at something like a Dev D, where you're taking drugs, you're getting drunk, and how far does method acting go? And what do you learn by watching others or studying behavior, or how does somebody behave when they're on cocaine, or where does method acting end and observing begin and acting begin?
Well, I'd done my share of experimenting with drugs and the whatnot in college. I think
You're
a
on
lot
tape.
of it. Yeah, I know. I've said this anyways, and I've done what I've done now. There's nothing I can do about it. I think I drank maybe thrice in 3 occasions on set because I just wanted to get a feel of acting while drunk. You can't really get drunk and act because you're going to be working for 8, 9, 10 hours.
Yeah.
I remember asking Anurag once for the walk, and people love that walk in that song from where Paro gets married, Emotional Techar.
Yeah.
And I just remember this moment of asking Anurag, well, just walk like a drunkard and show me.
Yeah.
And he did it bang on. It was brilliant. So you can take tips. You can ask your director, can you show me? Not all directors can. But I know like an Anurag or a Divakar are good actors, so you can see how they interpret it. And then it's not a matter of copying them; it's a matter of finding your approach to it
Yeah.
in that sense.
You know, I've heard that the movie industry in the 70s, 80s, maybe even was funded by the underworld, by the real estate agents and all that stuff, and it was a kind of a bit of a dodgy industry. First of all, is that true? And secondly, what is the state of the industry today?
We want an open economy. The economy opened up in 91.
91.
So, and even then, it took 10 years for the film industry to even get industry status. So, the only people who invested in the film industry was builders and the underworld. But had the mafia control still been that big today, you wouldn't have a Warner Brothers coming in, you wouldn't have a Disney coming in, you wouldn't have Sony coming in, because these, or Viacom, because these are international companies and they're not going to be working with the mafia. If you are serious and you want to contribute to the industry and you want to perhaps be satisfied with the kind of work you're getting, there's enough talent out there to invest in. You just got to do a little bit of research or know a few of the right people, and they'll guide you, to those who are making it because they're passionate about it, not because they can make a quick buck. But you need to participate. You can't just come in with all your money and think that you will make it and that you won't be taken advantage of because you're so smart. No. These guys are way smarter than you. And it's not the underworld you have to worry about.
Yeah. So let me talk about another side of you, which is you're very concerned about certain social issues. And the first time I had you give a talk, you talked about Eram Sharmila, etc. So tell us about her. I mean, what are one or two issues that really bother you or you're concerned about that you would like to speak up about?
I was trying to use my celebrity status to draw attention to certain issues. I realized that as a celebrity, you should not let your celebrity status be more highlighted than the cause itself. So I'm still trying to figure out, where do I draw the line? How much do I do? Because I've seen other celebs take up a cause and then it just backfire. But then the cause is left behind, and then the celebrity is sometimes is either attacked verbally or principally, or that the celebrity gets all the credit and the cause is then okay, whatever. Then the people who are actually behind it get left behind. Yeah. But I still continue to talk wherever I can. I still highlight. I also want to find a solution to things. I don't want to confront. I don't think confrontation brings any result. It just puts other people on the defense. Recently, I took up the cause, and this I think I can do more closely because it affects me as a producer. I took up the whole, I don't know if you guys have heard, but I took up this whole thing against the music companies on royalties for musicians and singers. Shankar Hassan and Loy have done my album for 1x2 that's releasing now on the 31st. And there was a clause that the music company that I have wanted me to have them sign. Now, the music company deals with the studio. In this case, is Viacom 18. And I am obliged legally to give the studio a contract, right? Signed by all the various people who make your movie. I had a contract from SEL given to them, but that was not the contract that the company wanted. The deal was within the company and the studio. So they saying, look, it's within our legal right to ask you that because we have a deal with the studio. Who are you? I mean, I'm the producer, but okay. I turned around and said, I'm sorry, but I can ask SEL to sign this contract, but they're not going to do it. And it was something to do with collecting royalties. Mine in particular there's several issues going on. It's not the first time that this is happening with the movie. Mine is not the first time. It happened before my film. It's happened during my film. It'll continue to happen until they reach a peaceful resolution. But what they didn't expect, I suppose, was me to somehow turn around and say, you know what, I'm not going to get you the signatures. And you know what, I'm going to take this side. And you know what, I'm going to tell everybody how this is unfair.
And you actually did something on the red carpet. So how did you protest this?
So I went to an awards function. The Screen Awards were happening. And I was invited to give an award. And I showed up with a black eye painted on my face. Looked like I was punched. And then when the people asked me, what happened? The media were the carpet. I said, well, my film's marketing has taken a hit. I just got punched by the music company. It was a symbolic, my symbol of protest, so to speak. And of course, it did blow out. Now, the thing was, that was the 14th of Jan. My film was releasing on the 31st of Jan. Marketing a Bollywood film, how can you not market without music? and your album needs to be in the market. Now, the musicians are saying on one end that no, this is unfair and it's illegal. So the music company is saying no, this is not illegal. They're saying no, it is illegal. And I'm in the middle stuck with no album in the market, with the first film as a producer. And I thought, don't I have the right to also fight for what's rightly mine, which is I gave the contract, I gave you an album, I made a movie, I put my reputation online. Tomorrow, if this film flops because the album didn't come out, because no one was aware of it, because no publicity was done, I'm going to be the one bearing the brunt of it. The music company will move on, the musicians will sign someone else, and I'll be left with nothing. So I said, whatever legal trouble I may get into, I need to stand by my product. And also, principally, I was with the musicians.
Yeah.
I did agree with them. That was the other thing. Most producers don't stand up and say that. So the backlash was huge. The entire music industry backed me up. Sonu Nigam anyways had this controversy that was pretty public. I was the next person to do it. And it just went on Twitter, because I put a Facebook post also on my public page. I'm pretty interactive. So my post also went viral. And finally, now, just 2 days back, all the rights for the music have been transferred back to Viacom. And now with Viacom, I found 2 other companies to distribute this music for me. And just yesterday, we started radio play, and I'm releasing on the 31st. So I have 1 week of music marketing for my film. In the meantime, we as artists can empower ourselves. There's no reason why we don't need to. We as artists can directly now cater to the consumer. It's just such a new technology. Like the digital space is just, you know what I mean, right?
Right, yeah.
It's untapped right now. You
Yeah.
just need the right people backing it and giving the content, and the possibilities are endless.
And it's very interesting, like even in the West, something like a participant production came out from somebody who's from a technology field doing a film and looking at digital distribution in a very interesting way could be a positive thing.
I mean, I think iTunes, I believe, has done day and date release on their platform of Hollywood films. So your indie films in Hollywood, I mean, they took a big beating, with the recession, and even Hollywood now makes just a big budget mega tentpole Hollywood film with action heroes and
Yeah.
the whatnot. All the good drama's gone to TV, which
Yeah.
is why you don't see so much good drama coming out in film. And with the recession and the whatnot, independent cinema just took a very big thrashing over there. But I do see every now and then a day and date theatrical and iTunes release of Hollywood films, and it works perfectly fine because those who want to go to cinema a day out will go to the cinema. Those who don't want to are going to watch it on a digital platform. So that's how things are changing.
So, that brings us back to your new movie that's coming out. So tell us a little bit about the new movie, what it's about, and where did that story come from, or why did that appeal to you?
So 1 by 2 is the story of 2 people who live in the same city, and basically the guy does some things. His actions have a reaction on her life. Her actions have a reaction on his life. Yet he doesn't know her and she doesn't know him. And neither of them know that there's somebody out there having such an impact on their life. So there's this sort of connection the 2 of them have. How did it come about? I had an idea. I called up Devika, the director. This is her first movie. And I'd known her for many years, and I've been waiting to work with her. She'd written 2 of my films in any case that I'd acted in.
Yeah.
So I said, come on, it's time you direct it now, and I have an idea. And I narrated it to her. And she said, very nice, but now I have an idea. I said, let me hear it. And then I heard her idea, and it was frankly much better than mine.
Yeah.
And that was the idea of 1 by 2.
Okay.
So I said, great, so you develop this idea. I'll go about putting together a crew and the money and studio, whatever have you. I had a co-producer, Sinosha Entertainment, already with me, who brought on the studio. And she developed it, and then, my partner put things into motion. So I have a partner in my company, IE Film, Sanjay, who's actually a DP. And so he has a very good idea of how it is to make a movie.
Yeah.
So he put all the systems in place, the crew in place, and we made the movie.
We have Preeti here, who's actually the lead. Preeti, why don't you come up on stage for a second? Come on over. She's his real life partner as well. And so one of the questions that always comes to Abhay is that how is it to act with somebody who's your partner? And I think we should turn it around and ask you, how was it to work with him?
It went really smooth. I found it quite easy to act with him. I think he was more nervous than what I was.
So why don't you say the answer you gave earlier? What was your
Well, my thing is, how can, whether it's my girlfriend or someone from my family, how can I put on another character other than the one they already know me to be? And if I was to act like someone I'm not, I'm always afraid that they looking at me and be like, "You're not convincing right now." I mean, that's crap. Like,
yeah.
what the hell, you know? So I'm afraid of being judged more by them.
Yeah. So, Preeti, tell us a little bit about yourself. You come to India from UK. So, what was your journey like so far? When did you come here? Did you come here to want to do movies, or did it happen? So, tell us a little bit.
I never ever thought of getting into films, to be honest. I was living a normal life in England. I was a beauty therapist. And I just happened to win a beauty pageant. Beauty pageants are huge in India, as you know. So I started getting loads of movie offers. And at that time, I was thinking, huh? Like films? And at that point, like I hadn't watched films for a while. I grew up in a white community. So I was thinking, I can't dance around trees. My friends will laugh at me and stuff. So I thought, I can't do this. But then I started watching more movies, and I started seeing, oh, okay, no, they have evolved quite a bit since last time I saw them. And then I thought, okay, why not? I kind of needed an adventure at that time, and I was feeling stagnant. A little bit like Amit Sharma, who Abhay plays in 1 by 2 hour film. But yeah, so then I just thought, you know what? Why not? So I just took the chance. I was always very with my choices, I was very safe. And I thought, let me just go up and leave and see what happens. And that's what I did. And that was like 6 years back.
So, what was your experience like doing the first film? I mean, was it easy? Was it tough? Tell me, were there moments of doubt ever for you, and how did you get over them?
It was weird. With my first film, Sure, I just got pushed straight into it. I didn't have any time to prep. It was literally, I got cast one day. The next day, we started shooting. The directors was just like, you be yourself. Just be the character and just play it how you would play it. So that was quite easy for me. And that was just that was a small role. But with this one, I don't know, I connected with the story straight away. So even when I sat with Devika, my director, we discussed the character. There was there was bits of Samara I could understand and relate to. I've definitely put my heart and soul into the role of Samara, and I know, we had so much fun making the film. And hopefully, you guys will connect with it and the characters in some way or the other. So I just hope you get to see the film.